I've tried to make this video 2 times already, and I keep on having to stop because I keep on crying. And I don't want to be crying on camera. But if that's what needs to happen, then it happens. One of the best things that could ever happen for me happened to me while I was fighting for my life. And I lost what might have been one of my greatest opportunities. I have contemplated making this video for a long time because it's very vulnerable and kind of embarrassing. But there's a part of me that wants to heal from this because I've hated myself ever since. And there's a part of me that wants to kind of help warn others to not do what I did or to not let happen what I let happen. So the greatest opportunity that I'm talking about is that I had been approached by one of the biggest South Korean artists, J Park, and his company. They approached me because they wanted me to audition for Morevision. And a lot of the people that follow me now, they follow me from that time because I was also on the EP cover of the song that J Park made during that time, and I also danced in the music video. Which those two things were not planned. They literally just happened. I mean, how can you explain it? It's like they approached me for the audition. I sent a dance video. Suddenly they say J Park wants me in the music video. And then I come there and they also want me on the EP cover. I mean, that's amazing. But that all happened while I was going through one of the shittiest times in my life. The thing is that if I would have told you the trajectory of my life, you would have probably be like, oh, would that be the worst time? Would this be the worst time? But the thing is that it's like everything that has happened, like it built up and exploded during that time. And I just couldn't handle it anymore, mentally and physically. And then on top of that, more shit was happening. I'm sorry that I'm cursing, but more was happening. And that was happening during that time that they reached out to me. And I was lucky that my mother was able to come with me and that they let, me take my mother with me. They let her stay in the Airbnb and stuff because I am technically an adult. But my mom knew that she couldn't let me go alone because she knew what was happening with me, how I was, and she also knew that I probably wouldn't be able to handle it if I went by myself. And she was right. Because those 2 weeks were amazing, and at the same time, I think I cried almost every night. Those 2 weeks were full of dance, but I'm not a professional dancer, so my body was like, what are you doing? So I sprained my ankle before I had to audition and before the music video. So yeah, but I did it because I did not want to let Jay down. I just did not want Jay to be disappointed in, getting me there. So I gave it my all. And the amazing thing is, meeting the people there who were so kind and amazing, and everything that I did there. But at the same time, there was so much happening at home. It was kind of destroying me on the inside. And I'm hesitant to talk about some of the stuff that was going on, but I feel like it is important for the story. There's a lot of things that have happened, but I think one of my biggest traumas come from my father. My father had a lot of issues, and we really suffered under them our whole lives. And we kind of suffered under them alone because my father was very charismatic. So my father had a lot of support and really knew how to twist stories. So my dad hurt us a lot. And there was a moment in my life I had to tell myself that I had to distance myself from my father because I loved my father too much through everything, and I just let my father hurt us over and over, hurt me over and over again. So there was a moment that I was like, I can't do that anymore, so I had to distance myself. But I also knew my dad was not gonna like it, and my dad showed that. And even then, I still kind of held some kind of contact until a moment that I was just ignored, and then we had no contact anymore. And years go by, I start pursuing my passion for music, and we suddenly get a letter. My dad has a hard time. The consequences of my dad's actions were catching up to my dad, but my dad just redirected it to us like it was our fault, because we must have been shouting from the rooftops what our dad did to us. We weren't. I mean, there's a point where you don't want to talk about it, you know? So my dad took a jab at us, at our mom, and at my music, because I have put some of my experiences with my dad, or just what my dad did in my life, in my songs. You can't like listen to my songs and hear this is about her dad, but a lot of it is, you know, combined. So took a jab at my music, and the biggest thing was that my dad wanted a paternity test because my dad didn't believe anymore, or was doubting that we were biologically the children. You can literally see our dad in us. We literally look like our family from our dad's side. But we also knew that it was a message to us. How dare we distance ourselves from our dad? At that moment, we were done. We were done with this cycle of abuse that kept on happening. And we were like, you know, knowing me, I would have done the paternity test to help my dad out. If somewhere my dad really was doubting it, but I doubt that my dad was doubting it. We knew our dad pretty well. Other people have had different versions of my dad. We have experienced the real version behind closed doors. So we knew. But we were done. We were done with the cycle of abuse, and we didn't want to cooperate anymore. So I didn't even want to prove that I was the child, because you're already telling me that you don't want me. You are already telling me that you don't love me. You told me that my whole life. And now this paternity test just tells me you don't want me and you don't want to love me. So I don't have to prove myself. I don't have to prove whose child I am. Doesn't matter anymore. So yeah, we took the case, I don't know how you say it, to like say we're not gonna do that. We're not doing it. We're just done. We're done. I was lucky that during the 2 weeks that I was in South Korea, I did not have to be at the first trial. I don't know how to call it or what it was exactly, but only our lawyers had to be present. But the second time I had to be present, you know. And, you know, I did the audition. I passed. They offered me the contract. They told me I can go home and think about it. But I knew, like, damn, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to navigate, because how are they gonna react if I tell them that all of this is happening? Because if I say yes to this contract, I have to tell them that this is happening, because I would not have been able to immediately come to South Korea because I had this freaking court case. And I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed that this was even a thing that was happening. That after 20 years, suddenly there's a need for a paternity test. I was embarrassed to tell it, because then immediately they would know that some messed up stuff is going on, you know. I didn't want to be looked at like that damaged girl that has been through all this trauma and stuff, and I've never wanted people to know that. I've never wanted people to see me like that, and now I have to say that to to this company that wants to sign me to Jay, and I didn't know how to. And on top of that, I was a bit confused about the contract, and I was told that there would be a conversation, but the conversation never really came. I know why, because it was a very busy, tight schedule. You know, Jay was on a very busy schedule, and I myself, I was too freaking scared to just come up to Jay and ask him myself for a conversation to talk about the contract. And I regret that, because I think that if I did, it would have changed the whole trajectory of these last 2 years. But I didn't, because I wasn't me. I wasn't myself. I was too silent. I was too reserved. I was too scared. So the contract is offered to me. We never had a conversation face to face, and I kind of knew that was going to be a problem, because that's the best way to have a conversation. I went home. I asked the person that I was with the whole time, how long did I have to think about it. She gave me like kind of a deadline, but I knew I had to have a conversation with Jay, because I knew that that was happening, that he had to be the one to know that. That's why I wanted a conversation with him especially. But I was embarrassed and scared to talk about it. And I especially was too scared and embarrassed to talk about it through messages, because I did ask for a conversation, but I was hoping more for like a Zoom call. But of course, I didn't say Zoom call, because I did not want to like be too pushy. So yeah, we had a bit of a conversation through messages, through DMs, but I never got to what I actually wanted to ask and say. I just asked some questions to kind of build up the courage, and I didn't. And so the conversation kind of went dead, and I never gave an answer to what they offered me, which is so unprofessional and not like me. But I didn't want to say no, because I wanted this, but I just didn't know how to say yes. How can I say yes while all of this is happening and they don't know about it? How can I say yes when I don't even know or understand the contract and the details of the contract without having a conversation? You know? So that was that, and it was just hanging in the air. And what I hated the most is how Jay and his company probably were looking at me, or maybe they weren't even looking at me anyway, because, you know, it's a fast-paced industry. You move on fast, I know that. But, I mean, it is kind of unprofessional, right? To not even say no. To not even give an answer. And, you know, I worked up the courage a few months after, but that is too late. And I knew that they already moved on from me, you know? And I've hated myself ever since. I've hated that I let what was happening to me, that I let it stand in between me and my opportunity. And so I just wanted to say this, because I don't want anyone who sees this to go through the same thing, because the kind of identity crisis that happens after this is just crazy. It's like I didn't know who I was anymore. I hated myself because I knew this was the opportunity, and I should have grabbed it with both hands, and I was too much. I was overthinking everything too much. I let the people who were hurting me, I let them take control over me and hold power over me, and it literally lost me my great opportunity, and I know that I'm to blame. And so don't do what I did. No matter what is happening, if something great is happening to you, please grab it with both hands. Even if you don't know how you're going to do it, just do it. Please, just do it. Just grab it with both hands and just figure out the rest later. Because this could have literally saved me. You know, it could have literally got me out of the environment that had been hurting me my whole life. Singing and music literally saved me in general, because I have been through depression. I have been through not wanting to live on anymore, wanting to live. And music, the whole reason that I pursued music is because I knew, because that was the only thing that kept me afloat. So don't be like me. Don't let trauma and hurt and other people, especially abusers, stand in between you and your life and your opportunities. Please. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you if you are still here.